what's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about the Microsoft Forms connectors. We'll go over the triggers, the actions, and then I'll build a demo to show you something cool that you can do with it too. All right, I'm at my desk. I am on the Flow website, as you can see. And so the first thing I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna go to My Flows. I'm going to click on New. Oops, I'm gonna dismiss that error. I'm going to click on New, create from blank again. And now, since today's video is about forms, let's go ahead and just type in forms and then click on Microsoft Forms and just take a look here for a moment. So we can see that there's one trigger when a new response is submitted, okay? And there's an action, get response details. Okay, so the trigger when a new response is submitted basically means that I'm going to go ahead and first create a Microsoft form. So that's the first thing you gotta know. Before working with the Forms connector, you actually need a completed form. So once I have my completed form, I can set up a flow. And so what this flow does is it waits and listens to that form so that when a new response is added to that form, this flow will go ahead and then trigger and do something, okay? And now there's an action that goes along with this. And the action is get response details, okay? So every time that this flow triggers, it has to actually include this action to get the response details of the response that is submitted. And the response details basically means all the answers to the questions. So if you ask, how old are you? What's your name? What's your email? The response details is actually all of that information. Whereas the trigger here is just the response happening. Okay? So hopefully that clears that up. So first things first, we're gonna have to go over to Forms and make a form. So go to forms.office.com. You will go ahead and authenticate. For me, I'm already signed in, and so it's going to go ahead and sign me in. And so you can actually see here that I actually have a lot of forms already made. So let's go look at this one real quick. Microsoft Flow questionnaire. How did you hear about it? What are some of the products you used today? What templates have you used? Yeah, this is pretty good. This is all about flow. So you know what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna actually click back real fast, and I am going to now, with the Microsoft Flow questionnaire here, oh wait, you know what? No, I'm gonna step back. I'm gonna make a new form with you guys so you can see how to step through this real quick. Let's do that. New form. How do you feel about Microsoft Flow? Okay, so let's add a new text question. Your first name. Okay? And now we'll leave it as text because you have to fill that in. And then your last name is good. We can go ahead and add that as well. See how Forms kind of suggests some things for you? Now we'll go ahead and enter text here and ask for your email address so that we can contact you. Okay, so now we have some basic contact. Your first and last name, your email address. This is bugging me. Let's go ahead and make that L uniform and the N also. All right, now let's add a choice question, okay? So let's say, how do you rate Microsoft Flow? Option 1 is 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna go all the way up to 10. And then we'll ask, what do you like about Microsoft Flow? you can tell that I am really good at typing. And then we'll let them say and then let's add one more and say, what's the best feature? And then let's add some choices here. We'll say templates, we'll say conditions, we will say connecting to all the services, right? Maybe custom connectors. All right, so that's pretty good for now. You can kind of see how a form is made from this, right? So let's go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go ahead and hit share, and I am going to pull up this QR code right here. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and just pause for a second and let you pull out your phone and scan this QR code with your camera. And then you can actually fill out this form and you'll see what it does here later on in the rest of the video as I build the rest of the flow. Okay? Pretty cool, right? Little added bonus. All right, so now that the form is done, let's go ahead and go back to flow. And let's start our flow with the trigger when a new response is submitted. So that means anytime one of you guys answers this form, this flow will trigger, okay? So we go ahead and insert that, and now it's gonna ask us to pick a form. Oh, what did we name our form? How do you feel about Microsoft Flow? Okay, so then in the list here, we'll go find, see, how do you feel about Microsoft Flow? It's there, perfect. If your flow is not there, if you happen to start this process before you made the form, just refresh the page and your form should show up. Okay, so now that we have that, now every time that we start with this trigger, we have to also use the forms action, okay? So we're gonna go here to Microsoft Forms and we have the get response details action. So let's go ahead and select that. It's gonna ask us for the form ID. We are using how do you feel about Microsoft Flow? We choose that. Now, for response ID, we click inside the box and the dynamic content tray comes out here. That's what we call it, dynamic content tray. But you'll notice in it, it says we can't find any outputs. It's being a little tricky right now. Actually, it's not helping you. So what you wanna do is click on see more here or see more here. Okay, and so now what this is going to give you is the response ID. So then you can go ahead and click that and it inserts it right there into the box. Now, you're gonna notice this apply to each thing just popped up. And what the heck is this apply to each? I didn't do that. Why is that there? Well, fret not. This is Flow actually helping you. So a minute ago, it was hiding some stuff from you that you needed, it wasn't helping you. But now when you inserted that, it's like, okay, you're sure that you wanna use that thing? Okay, we'll help you out and we'll put this apply to each for you. So now what happens is, anytime a response is submitted, we will get the response detail for each response, each question. Okay, and so now what we're able to do is with these 3 steps, our trigger, our apply to each, and then our get response details, this now provides for us every answer to every question from every user that fills out the form. Now we get to have some fun, right? Because now we decide what do we want our flow to do. And so this is kind of where you can branch off, right? And decide what your flow is going to do differently than my flow. But for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a streaming data set in Power BI using Flow, because I think it's awesome to be able to do that, to turn anything into a streaming data set like a Microsoft form. And then secondary to that, I'm actually going to send an email to every single user that fills out this form, just thanking them for taking the time to fill out the survey. And maybe I'll provide them with a couple extra links that they can use when they fill this out. Cool, right? All right, let's check that out. So from here, I'm going to click on Add an Action. And then I'm going to type Power BI. Now, I'm going to choose Add Rows to Dataset. But before I do that, I actually need to have a dataset that I can use. So I have to go to Power BI. Oops, no spaces and URLs. PowerBI.com. I'm going to click Sign In. And I'm going to go to Workspaces and My Workspace. All right, so here's where I can click on Create and then Streaming Dataset. So I went to Home and then Workspaces and then My Workspace. Now you can obviously create this in whatever workspace you want to use. I'm just going to go ahead and use My Workspace. So I'll go ahead here and click Streaming Dataset. I'll choose API and then I'll hit Next. And so what do I want to name this? What do you think of Flow? Okay, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of choose what our values are in our data set. So I'll go over to the form, we'll open it up. So it's first, last name, email address. We don't need any of that in our data set. We usually want to keep our data pretty anonymous for things like this. So the first one is, how do you rate Microsoft Flow? So how do you rate Flow? And it's going to be a number value, right? Next is, what do you like about Flow? What do you like? And that's text. The next one is, what do you dislike? Right? And that's text. And then the last one is, what is the best feature about Flow? And that's also text. Now also, you're going to want to always turn on your historical data analysis. That's very important. Always, 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 every time, turn that on. Okay? Now that that's done, we click Create. Streaming dataset is created. I click Done. And now if I go over to my datasets, you can see how useful is Flow. What do you think of Flow? There it is. Created today. Okay, so that's done. Now, let's go back to Flow and let's choose Add Rows to a Dataset. And let's choose the workspaces. We choose My Workspace. The dataset is, what do you think of Flow? And then choose the table real-time data. Now, this is going to expand. Boom. How do you rate Flow? What do you like? What do you dislike? And what is the best feature about Flow? And now, simply what we're going to do is we're going to click in the field. Our dynamic content tray comes out, and we are going to map one-to-one. How do you rate Flow? How do you rate Flow? What do you like about Flow? What do you dislike about Flow? What is the best feature about Flow? Okay? Now, in our streaming data set, as people answer, you will then be able to, I'll make a little dashboard and visualize these things, and then I'll be able to kind of see, oh yeah, what are people thinking? What are they filling out in the form, right? And then we'll be able to visualize that, and so this is a simple little demonstration. But imagine if you were collecting sentiment in your company about issues, or what if you were collecting information from customers. This makes real-time decision-making so much easier, so much more timely, because you don't have to constantly be adding and refreshing the data. It's just all here and ready to go, and all you do is just go into your dashboard, and all the information is there and constantly updated, and you can slice it and dice it and do all the things you want with it. All right, so now to finish this up, let's go ahead and add our final step. Add an action, type send an email. Okay, and so I am going to use send an email v2. I'm not sure what is different about v2 versus v1. This is new to me. v2 is here, but I guess, you know, if there's a v2, might as well use v2. Oh, I see. There's a rich text editor. Ooh, fancy. Okay, let's blow past that for the moment. Okay, see, now I clicked into the to field, and Flow is trying to be tricky again, right? It's trying to hide some stuff from me that it thinks I don't need, but I do need it. So what I need is the email address from the person that did the form. So I'm going to go here and look at the get response details, because that's where the answers to the questions live, and I'm going to click see more. Okay, now there is the responders email. Now this is if you have a form in your organization that is authenticated against, where a user is bringing their credentials, like a school or work or something like that, where they have to have their credentials. Okay, that's where you can use responders email. Otherwise, that's why I actually asked for their email in the form, because a lot of times you use an unauthenticated form that anyone can answer, and then responders email won't actually work. It'll just say anonymous and it'll break your flow. And so that's why I asked right here for your email address. So that way we have a good email to contact them and we can automate this contact. And then in the subject we'll say, thanks for filling out my form. And I will say, hey, space. And then again, see, I need some more content, but Flow is hiding it from me. So I'm going to click see more again. And I'm going to put, hey, first name, comma, space, space. Thanks for taking the time to fill out my form. And then I'm going to give them a bonus to anyone that fills this out. So this way, anyone who fills out my form gets to download my Flow in a Day content for free. And it's the trainers package, and it's the user material. There's hackathon stuff in there, ton of goodness, like 8 to 12 hours of awesome learning inside that package. So great place to get started on Flow if you want to dive in with some next steps. So that link right there, that will work for you as soon as you fill this out. And hint, hint, even if you don't fill this out, even if you just paste that link into the browser. Okay, so now let's go ahead and see if this works. Okay, so I'm going to click Save. I'm going to go over here to the form, and I'm going to click Preview. And now let's fill this out. John, oops, look at this lowercase. Not even proper. John Levesque. For those of you wondering how to say my last name, Levesque. It's like without the S. Levesque. Poor spelling, I know, but Levesque. All right, email address. My work email. How do I rate Flow? A 10. What do you like about Flow? Everything. What do you dislike about Flow? Nothing. What is the best feature about Flow? Definitely connecting to all the services. All right, I submit. Now, I didn't set up a dashboard yet to visualize that data, but let's real quick go to my email. And here it is. Check it out. Hey, John, thanks for taking the time to fill out my form. As a bonus, please go ahead and download the Flow in the Day learning and trainers content from, boom, that link. So let's go over here to the Flow. Let's back out of it, and let's go ahead and check out our Flow run. So you can see a response got submitted. There was only one set of responses coming from me. We got all those details. You can see here all the answers to my questions, right? All the data comes through. It then takes all that information, see, and adds it all to the streaming data set, the 4 fields, as we set it to do. And then it sends an email, just as requested, here to my inbox. Boom. Oh, love it. So with that, I think you should go and build your first form flow, and then leave
a comment below to let me know what you made, because my favorite thing in the whole world is hearing that you watched one of my videos and then went and made a flow. Alright guys, that's it. Good luck. Alright, we covered the trigger, we covered the action. I showed you how to send out an automated email for everyone that does your survey, and I showed you how to connect it to a Power BI streaming data set so you can visualize all of your answers. All that in under 30 minutes. Alright guys, as always, much love from me. Please like and subscribe. See you guys in the next video.